Hi, my name is Kristen Ford, and I'm just going to show you a little hobby of mine, and that would be making paper cranes. I'm just going to start off by just grabbing some origami paper. I just got this off of Amazon. It's just a multicolor pack. Nothing special, really cheap. And I'm just going to pick a color that'll hopefully show up, show you exactly what I'm doing, nice crisp lines and everything like that. And I picked a nice, bright, neon pink. So it's origami paper because it comes in a perfect square. You can do this with like lined sheet of paper. You just really have to make sure that it's a perfect square. So I'm just going to take that bottom corner and fold it right diagonally across, and I'm really going to make sure that the corners line up pretty much as perfect as I possibly can. It's really important with origami and just paper folding in general that you really get those lines nice and crisp, and that's why I'm running my finger over them. And then I turn it inside out, and you're going to see that you have like mountains on one side and like a valley on the other, and you're going to take your mountain side, the point with the peaks, and you're going to touch those peaks together, once again just going diagonally. So this time you're going to make like an X in lines across your paper. And I'll show you here real quick. It's going to have one side that's going to be like a peak, and one side that's going to have like a valley. And if you flip it over, if you put your thumb right in the middle of it, it'll actually make like a bowl almost. Not a really good bowl, but it'll form an indentation. You're going to take those peaks again, and you're going to touch them together. You're going to make this like square. Once again, I'm just really making sure that my peaks line up, that my points are really good, and that my lines are as crisp as I can get them, running my fingers over them. Just making sure that everything lines up pretty good, and so far all you really have is a square. It's just a really fancy square. One side has all of these flaps and all of these folds, and then the other side is just kind of closed together. It has a little bit of a fold, but it does not open up. So you're going to take the side that opens up, and you're going to fold the corner in so that you're going to make a type of triangle. You're going to do this to both sides, and it's almost going to look like a kite, but you're only going to want to take that top fold and do it. So you can see the layer underneath, and I only did the top layer. And then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Once again, just folding that outer corner inwards, forming kind of like a kite type shape. And you're just gonna once again press those lines, make sure they're really nice and crisp. And as you can see, it's just the same on both sides, but they aren't connected. They're their own little shapes. So you're gonna run your finger through, and because of the fold, it'll have like an inner layer and an outer layer. You're gonna hold down that outer layer and pull up that inner layer. This part can kind of be tricky the first couple times that you do it, but you just really want to make sure to take your time, don't rip the paper. And it's almost going to look like almost like a little boat type, and then you're just going to flatten it out straight across, pressing those lines, just making sure everything nice and crisp, and just laying them down. And you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Not pretty much, you're going to do the exact same thing. Once again, just pulling up just that inner layer, keeping that bottom layer, hold down with your other hand. Once again, making the boat, and just following those lines that were already there. When you do the other side, it really helps to line it up with the underside that you had already done, just to make sure that both sides are pretty much equal, similar in any way that you can make them, making sure to push down those lines, making sure they're really nice and crisp, and that everything lines up as best as you can. First couple times you make it won't line up perfectly, but that's okay. And I'm just really making sure those are pushed down. So now you have this diamond shape, I guess you could call it, and it has all the flaps, and you're gonna have the side that is separated. It'll look like it's split down the middle. And you're going to do the exact same thing, it's just on a smaller scale. So how you took the outer corner and you folded it in to make the kite type shape, now you're going to do the exact same thing, except it's very skinny, it's very small. And once again, you're only going to do that one side, and then you're going to flip it over and do it on the other side. So make sure you're not taking both sides and folding it over. You need to do one side at a time. And pressing down those lines, making sure they're nice and crisp as you can get them. Practice makes perfect. You'll make sure to get those points nice and sharp as you can get them. And you still have that split. Make sure you still have that split. Almost like it's cut, but it's not. You're gonna have these folds on the side and it won't be cut. And that's how you know which sides to choose. So you're just gonna take those top flaps and you're just gonna fold them down. Just make a nice good crease, because these are gonna be your wings and you don't want your wings to be pointed straight up. So you're just gonna take the time right now and just fold them down, crease them. And then you're gonna have this really kind of weird looking shape. But that side that's not cut, you're gonna open it up a little bit, just enough so that you can take that flap and fold it up. And you're gonna follow that line right in the middle, and you're just gonna fold it on that line, and then you're gonna squeeze it together so that it's kind of encapsulated in between the wings that we had just made. And it should stand straight up just like that on its own. And you're gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. So you're gonna open it up, fold it, follow that line that you had made and fold it in half. And then you're gonna pinch it in between the wings so that it stands straight up on its own. So now you have this weird looking straight points in between your two wings. And I like to find the one that's better straight. You're gonna have one that's probably gonna be a little curvy. So you can see the one on the right is a little bit more straight than the one on the left. So I'm gonna make that the tail. And the one that's a little curved, I'm gonna flatten it out, fold it over a little bit. See, you can see I'm pinching it, folding it over, and then I'm gonna pinch it right at the neck so that it squeezes itself into that shape. And as you can see, that's the head. And then the tail, that really straight one that I really didn't want to touch, I'm just going to scoot it so it's not standing straight up. It's a little bit more angled, a little bit more natural looking. And I'm just taking my thumb and my forefinger and I'm just squeezing it in between the body underneath. And that'll leave it on that angle. And then I just straightened up the wings, made it look kind of really pretty. And that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed it. My name's Kristen, and I'm the one who made the little cranes. Those are my hands and my voice in the video. So the how-to portion is over. No more folding of the paper cranes, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of the insight as to why I chose to do paper cranes as my how-to video. So I actually learned how to fold paper cranes my senior year of high school. We had to do it as an assignment. We had read this story about this young girl who was sick, and if she made 1,000 paper cranes, she would be cured of this illness. It's actually a real story. There's a statue in Japan, and people leave paper cranes all over the statue. So as an assignment, we had to learn how to make a paper bird. Like a 100-point project was learning how to make a paper bird. And so that's why I learned how to make them. And I used to be so stressed, I couldn't get the folds right, and they would always be like deformed, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and they would just be absolutely atrocious. And then one day it just clicked, you know, the lines folded right and the bird came out nice, and I passed the class. I got 100 out of 100 on the assignment, so go me. And then at my old job, we would have receipt paper that would come out as almost perfect squares, and it would be so small, and I would take so long to make these little tiny cranes, and I would just leave them all over the place, and it would make my coworkers and customers just really happy. They loved them. So in times like these, maybe you can like learn how to do it and go up to your mom and be like, you know, like the artwork that you did in like 4th grade, just be like, look mom, I made a bird out of paper. And you know, your mom or your dad will just be really, really happy for you. Show it off, make a little bit of a show about it. I also kind of use it as a healthy coping mechanism to when I'm a little bit anxious, as opposed to like picking the skin around your nails or pulling at your hair a little bit. I find that this actually really helps. It occupies my hands when I'm anxious. So I made this little guy, not to confuse him with this little guy, very different in multiple ways. But I made him when I was actually doing my song assignment. I was really stressed that I was not interpreting the song in any way that made sense, and I was scared I was going to fail the paper, and if I failed the paper, I failed the class, and I was really stressed and really anxious, and I was just not having a good time. So I spent like 5 minutes and I just folded this little guy, and he sat on the corner of my desk and he calmed me down, and I ended up finishing the paper and passing. So it was a really nice thing. So I figured that if I could share this skill, maybe you can make somebody happy. Maybe you can use this as one of your coping mechanisms. Maybe you can just make your day a little bit brighter because you have a blue bird made out of paper in your room. I know that there's multiple ways on how to fold a paper crane. I've tried a few others. This is just the easiest way that I found. It's the best way I've liked. If you find another way and it's easier, do that. If you never want to fold a paper crane in your life, don't. If you hate paper cranes, I don't know why you watched the video, but I'm glad you watched. I hope that this was the one new thing that you learned today. Always learn something new every day. And I hope for those of you who are actually interested that this helped. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. It was fun to make.